for my mind to I both accept it and reject that everybody is a LARP.
Mhm.
It seems so hard to pull off, but then I start to realize that this is what they've been doing forever. Like
Yeah,
all of
well,
our favorite
mhm.
rappers are homo thugs, right? Like, so it's like to me, it seems hard to believe that, but I mean, I'm
well,
open
well, I'm
minded.
not saying that he's a LARP or he's like has Jewish handlers, but what he is he's controlled like theologically in a way. And I'm not picking
Okay,
on him. It's
I
all
think he's
Christian
brilliant.
anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I
I,
think he's
I
a very smart man.
he's definitely very smart, which is why I don't see how you could be so smart and think that blaming them for killing God when Christianity wouldn't exist. Christians are only saved because they're washed in the blood, and it's the prophecies. It's God's plan. It's Jesus's plan that be rejected by the Jews in the Bible. So they're just following God's plan. And Paul, the Apostle Paul, even says like salvation was brought to the Gentiles because of their transgression. So being mad at them for following God's plan of rejecting the Messiah, and I think Jesus is a myth, and the whole thing's
I know.
mystical, kabbalistic, based on Scripture. But that's what I'm saying. Blaming them. Most people think that Christians crying about "you killed God" are insane and deranged, and it makes them have a lot of sympathy and victim status for the Jews, but by being persecuted by these mean Christians who hate them for a stupid reason. Like that's the dichotomy of Christianity and Judaism that I see playing out, and it's Kabbalistic. The rabbis all say it's a law of nature. Esau hates Jacob, so Christianity hates Judaism.
So weird to me. It's just so weird to me. And like, these are just dangerous conversations to the normal person. There's no perspective on which they can come
Mm.
from. But to me, it's just like if you can't have these discussions, you're never going to solve the problem. And if you don't know who is coming after you, you can't solve the problem. And when I want to get back into a little bit of Zionism because you have all these kind of like mission statements of Zionism and then what they'll do to uh achieve those goals. And some of the stuff is, and this is gets into some dangerous conversation, at least from my perspective, is the sacrificing of Orthodox Jews over like Zionist Jews. And I know you don't think there's a big difference between
Mhm.
that, but uh the willingness to sacrifice Jews
Mhm.
to attain um this kind of whatever their goals are at that moment is
Mhm.
a real thing. And that's why it's like I don't think it's just like Jews and
It's biblical too. The idea of like 2/3 or them being persecuted and refined through the fire while they're in exile. These are biblical ideas, and there is the idea. So here's the story of Jacob and Esau. I keep going back to that, right? There's a biblical story where Jacob goes to see Esau, his brother who hates them because he stole his birthright, and he separates half of his family to go somewhere else so that if they try to go to war against him, some will still survive. And there's this idea, Herzl also talked about it, that even if you cut off a few branches, the root will regrow and it'll just become stronger. So the idea of sacrificing some of them definitely is in the cards.
so you've brought up Christian nationalists a lot. I'm going
Mhm.
to do an episode Christian Zionists, excuse me.
Mhm.
I'm going to do an episode on the what is the Bible that put Christian
Schofield.
Schofield Bible? Do you
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on the Schofield Bible? Can you give us a little history on it
Mhm.
and your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's true. It was funded by Jewish millionaires or billionaires at the time that helped promote that. But my big take on the Schofield Bible is that the number one religion in America is evangelical Christianity, so Zionist Christians, by far the most popular religion. And what people do is they'll say they're not real Christians. They want to blame all of these kosher Christians on Schofield, and they go, "Oh, he changed it. It's translation. It's the same Bible. It's the same verses. Like if all of the Old Testament and the New Testament is about the chosen people, and then they did this, and this is their promised land, and then don't blame Schofield 100 years ago if people are confused and think that Jews are chosen by God and that they have a holy land and they're meant to return there. That's like what the whole Bible is about. So people like to scapegoat and blame Schofield and Christian Zionism and say they're not real Christians. It's just a modern heresy, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't change the translations. It's just like a couple footnotes that are different. And it was like a change in doctrine where it became a lot more pro-Israel. But it's just like, I say all Christians are Zionist. And it's not that I have a perfect meme. It's not that Judaists hijack Christianity. They started Christianity. That was the great replacement. That the whole goal of Judaism is having all the nations in the world recognize the God of Israel as the one true God and his chosen people. So get rid of their pagan idol worship and worship the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham. That's the ultimate goal.
What's your thoughts on all the pagans and what they call the little g gods and all that stuff? Like, I don't know where like Aleister Crowley fits into your view of the world. And when we do 9/11, which we all know there was many more countries than 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia. There was a lot more involved with that. But when we look into the like numerology of 9/11, the 7/7s, the 11s, the all that stuff, 93, which is a big Thelema number. What are your thoughts on that? Is paganism, the little G gods, is that any does that come on your radar at all?
I don't think they have anything to do with it. And I think they're all mythologies. I think Thor and Odin are just as real as Jesus and Yahweh. But you reminded me of something else, the 9/11 Zohar connection. It also has the three buildings and also the date. They give a date when this is going to happen on the Hebrew calendar. And it's like 1 or 2 days away from when 9/11 happened as well. So since you mentioned Gematria, I wanted to touch on that. But it's not just Christian Zionists. It's all Christians are Zionists. If you're a Christian, you worship the God of Zion. The Bible says he dwells in Zion. Zion is his holy mountain. Zion represents the hill in Jerusalem, basically. And the law will come forth from Zion. Zion is his holy mountain. So if you believe in the God of Zion, if you believe in the nation of priests and the prophecies, you are a Zionist by my definition, because you believe in the God of Zion. And this is what the whole thing is. The great conspiracy, the Jesus deception, is really just a prophecy deception. The nation of priests say that they're chosen by God. They have the prophecies of God. They can predict the future, like predictive programming. And if they can convince their goal to convince the world that they are the nation of priests, if they speak for God and everybody believes that, it's like they're made into God if they're the people of God. And it's been successful. It's worked. Nobody can deny that we're in the Judeo era. The last 1700 years has been dominated by the Torah and the Yahwehism and the messianic agenda.
So you've brought this up to me a lot on the thing, and I here's what I'm gonna say. I am a recovering drug and alcohol addict. I'm an alcoholic and drug addict reformed, and God has helped me get through this. Okay. And it makes me want to be a better person. You talk to people, there is historical evidence that a Yahweh existed. Okay. So when you say these things, are you saying that person never existed? And which is not my opinion, but I feel like I have to have everybody on to have this conversation.
Yeah.
You feel like that person never existed, or is it in the way that we see a manipulation of what happened to fulfill the prophecies?
You said, did Yahweh exist? I'd say definitely not. Jesus, the whole story of Jesus we know about from Paul's letters and then from the Gospels that came decades after the supposed events. And maybe we can do a whole show just about the Jesus prophecy deception. And I think you were talking about Fuentes earlier. Why has he part of the reason is because he's a Christian, it's more acceptable. It's like the number one, religion in the world. So I'm ostracized from the anti-Zionist communities because I don't believe in the prophecies and I don't worship the God of Israel. That's kind of how that's played out.
Do you have spirituality at all? Or are you just filled to the bone and it's all like we're just monkeys in shoes and it's all retarded?
I do think we're monkeys in shoes. Yes, I do believe in evolution.
Hurling through space and it means nothing. And this place isn't special. There's other people there, aliens. Like, where do aliens come into Adam Green's world? Are they
Mhm.
real? Are they demons? Are they angels? Are there anything? You know, I mean,
Okay.
what's that thought?
Lot of questions there. I do believe there probably is life elsewhere in the universe. I do believe in evolution. We could have been planted, or it could have started here. It could have been seeded from somewhere else with mushroom spores or something. I don't know. Karma, I do believe karma is like a natural phenomenon. Not that like there's a hidden force that good things will happen to you, but if you're nice to other people, it's more likely other people will be nice to you, which is kind of a natural thing. I'm not atheist. I'm agnostic, anti-theist, anti-Yahwehist. So I'm against the Abrahamic religions, but um, I don't rule out the idea of a higher power or other dimensions or stuff like that. It's pretty miraculous. I don't think that the life is for nothing.